Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys today? I am bringing to you a really fun project. It is a panel card, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. It's called a panel card because basically there's a panel on the front, and it is a very interesting little card because you get to fold it flat for mailing, just like that. So when they pull it out of their envelope, this is what they see. And then it pops open like this and can sit on their desk, just like that. Isn't that so neat? I love these cards. They're a lot of fun to do, and I am bringing it to you today with a really cool stamp set called Angels of Peace. And this stamp set is available in the July to December mini catalog. It is a beautiful stamp set, and it's located on page 42. It's only $21, and you get 8 cling stamps. They are just absolutely gorgeous. I love this larger angel and the little girl angel. We're going to use the big one today for our project, but I have 2 other projects that are on YouTube as well with this stamp set, and you'll get to see the small angel on one of them. So check that out. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to move this out of the way. We don't need that right now. And the first thing that we are going to do is make our panel. We're going to do all the hard part first, right? So it's not really hard, but it looks hard, right? So the first piece that we have right here is an 8.5 by 4 1/4 inch piece of cardstock. So I'm going to use my Simply Scored tool, and we are going to score it. And this is what it looks like. It's a board, and at the bottom is the stylus. It lives in the board. And I'm going to go ahead and put it down onto my desk surface. Hopefully you can see really well. We're going to put our piece of cardstock in, which is 8.5 by 4 1/4. And we are going to score it, and we're going to score it at 4.5. So here's the 4, here's the 5, in between is the half, 4.5, 5.5, 5, 6, in between is the half, 5.5, and 7, that one's easy, and 8, that one's easy. So 4.5, 5.5, 7, and 8. That's our first piece. Now what this is going to do is it's forming this back piece here of our card, and it's going to be folded on all of these marks, and these are going to roll around, and it's going to make that portion of our card, okay? I'm going to put it to the side right now. We'll do all the burnishing in a minute. I just wanted to show you. The next piece that we are going to be using is 5 3/4 by 3. So it's 3 inch this way, 5 3/4 the other way, and we are going to score it also just in 2 places at the 1/2 inch. So here's 1, here's 0, and in between is the 1/2 inch. So we got a 1/2 inch, and then 1.5 inch. So 1, 2, in between is the 1/2. There we go. So 1/2 inch and 1.5 inch. Those are our 2 marks. Okay, I'm moving the board out of the way because that's all the scoring that needs to be done. Now this piece is the part that forms this panel. So it's going to get folded like this. As you can see, that's the piece that goes right there. So those are the 2 pieces. That's basically the whole card. Let's go ahead and put our bone folder to work, and we are going to go ahead and burnish on all of these score marks. So we'll go one at a time, bend them each one at a time. We just want to get them nice and ready for adhesive. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to burnish this one and then this 1/2 inch one. All right. So this panel here is going to take our angel, so we're not ready for that, but we can go ahead and start with this. Now I've used a piece of DSP, and it's going to go on this front panel right here. And so in order to put it there, this is the piece that this is the panel that it's going to go on. So it's the 1, 2, 3rd one down when you're looking at them when they're scored. So 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. This 3rd one starting from the smallest edge, working your way down, that's the one that gets the panel. So it is a piece of 1 1/4 by 4 inches, and we are gonna go ahead and attach that right there. I'm gonna be using our seal adhesive. Whoops, just knocked over my scoreboard. Sorry about the noise, guys. Life happens, right? All right, so I'm going ahead and putting my seal adhesive on here, and I'm just going to go ahead and attach my piece of designer series paper right there in that panel. Now, this panel here needs some adhesive. We are going to use our Seal Plus or our multi-purpose glue. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the Seal Plus today. And this is what the seal looks like. The Seal Plus is darker blue. So that's how you can tell the difference, okay? So we're gonna use this, and this is made for stuff that needs a really, really strong bond. Our seal is super strong, but this is even stronger. So I have put some right along this length right here, and I'm gonna turn it like this. I'm gonna flip it to the back. And then I am just gonna bring this panel right up like this with this part down, and I'm gonna push this with my bone folder and make a press right there. So that will hold in place, and there is our first section of our panel card. Now, the second one I'm not going to glue down until I'm done with the angel, just because it will be a lot easier to stick her down when she's not elevated. But this piece is going to get attached at the bottom right here in between these two pieces. And when you lay it flat, after you've adhered that portion, this is going to get bent just like we did the other one, and it's going to get glued down in place. But I'll show you that in a second. So far we have the bottom section of our panel, okay? Let's go ahead and move on to our angel. Well, actually, let's just do the panel. I can attach her on. I don't want you guys to get confused. So let's go ahead and finish it. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a length of the Seal Plus along this bottom edge. And then we're going to run some on this edge that I have folded back as well. Just going to make sure it's on that panel. So we are going to lay this flat. We are going to position this in between the two layers and make sure that we're about even. And then we're going to press that in place. We can use our bone folder to help give us a little bit more pressure. Now, this part that we have the adhesive, we're going to turn it to the back, and we're going to let it fall where it naturally falls onto the card. And then we're also going to press it. And the reason we're going to attach this flat is this is how it's going to be put into the envelope. So once the recipient gets the card, they can stack it up just like that. Now, I did do one thing that I probably should have done first, but it's okay, it works. We're going to put a piece of ribbon right here, and it would have been a lot easier to tie if it had been flat, but that's okay. We'll flatten it now. And we're going to place this piece right here, and it's going to be on this top panel. So we're going to go ahead. This is about, I would say maybe 10 or 11 inches of ribbon. And we're going to go ahead and hold it in that spot there so to keep it from wiggling. And then we're just going to bring this around and remove my finger there. Now I have a loop that I'm going to push this piece through and pull it. If I can grab it, there we go. If I can get my hands on it. All right, and I'm going to try and hold that bottom part flat until I'm almost there so that it gets nice and tight. And then once I have it there, I can slide this over so that it's centered. And there is our little knot. I'm going to use my ribbon cutting scissors. I have 2 pairs of paper snips. One I use for paper and one I use for ribbon. So this is the ribbon pair. And I'm going to go ahead and trim that end, and I'm going to trim this end as well. So there is our pretty ribbon for the top part of our card. I love this glimmer ribbon. I think it's so pretty. So there's basically our panel card. Now we have to decorate it, right? We got to do our angel here for the top. So let me just push this off to the side. And we are going to do a little bit of embossing on our angel. She is super pretty. But before we start the embossing, let's just stamp with regular inks. We're going to use Pool Party, which is the color of the paper. So I wanted to use the sentiment that says, peace on earth, goodwill towards men. And I'm going to go ahead and ink that up in Pool Party, and I'm going to stamp it right here on this piece. Whoops, I don't like how that turned out. Let's flip it over. Thank God that paper has two sides, right? Let's put it more down this way. There we go. That looks way better. Second time's the charm. We are also going to stamp on the back of our card, so we have a place to write our sentiment, a little note, and our name. And so we're going to stamp this section. And so this piece of cardstock for the back panel is 4 by 4 1/4, and it is going to fit right here like so. All right, so I have to make sure I have it in the right position because it's so close. So I'm going to place it down on my piece here. I'm going to stamp this cute little star on the top. And then I'm going to stamp blessings to you and yours this season and in the coming year. I'm going to bring it down a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing. There we go. So that's that. Now also on the back, as you can see, I tied in that specialty paper as well. So we are going to attach this piece right there at the bottom. Just cleaning my stamps and moving them out of the way. The less I have on my desk at one time, the better. So let's go ahead and use our seal adhesive along this length here. Whoops, I don't think I had it started. There we go. Now we're cooking. Okay. So this little piece of adhesive, this little piece of paper, designer series paper, it's a specialty. I love that gold on there. It's so pretty. We're going to go ahead and tie that in right there to the bottom, and let's go ahead and attach it onto our panel. So let's flatten it out, and this will get attached to the back. So there's our back panel. So now we just need our little angel for the front. Everything else is ready. All right, we can't put this on until our angel is done, so I'm going to set this off to the side, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So let's go ahead and start with our angel. Our angel is on a piece of 2 3/4 by 4 inch of our basic white cardstock. And I didn't tell you, but this Pool Party piece was 2 by 7/8 of an inch, so that's the size of that. So let's go ahead and stamp our angel. We're going to stamp her in Versamark ink, and she's kind of a large stamp, so I'm going to put her with the rubber side up, and I'm going to bring the ink to her. All right, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and bring it down so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to try and position her as evenly as possible on this piece of basic white cardstock. Whoops, it's a sticky ink. And now I know you guys are not going to be able to see her, but trust me, she is there. Hopefully the light is catching her. But if not, she's going to come to life in a second. I'm going to go ahead and push her out of the way for a minute and clean the stamp. And like I said, get one more thing out of my way. All right. Last step. We're going to use this gold embossing powder. And I like to hold on to the edges, and I pour my entire container of powder into these little things. And I like to use them because I don't get powder everywhere. See, it all just lives in this little powder house, right? So there's my angel. Just gonna give her a little flick. And I'm gonna go ahead and cover this because God forbid that I should sneeze or that should fall over. That would be tragic. I'm going to grab a small paintbrush, and I'm just going to make sure that nothing extra got attached, because this powder is so fine that there's no little speckles, and you won't see them at first, but I'm just going to brush my cardstock so that if there are any there, they kind of disappear. Like I said, the powder is super fine, and so you don't want any extra. Sometimes you can see it, and then other times you can't really see it. So I'm just brushing that extra away. All right, so let's go ahead and hold her in place with our Take Your Pick tool, and I'm gonna go ahead and heat up my heat gun, but I don't want to put it on her quite yet. I want the gun to get nice and warm, so you're gonna hear a little noise for a minute before I put her on there. All right, it's nice and warm now. I'm gonna hold the Take Your Pick tool over the top so she doesn't blow away, and I'm gonna bring the gun right over the top of her and start putting some heat onto that powder. It's going to melt the powder, and then it will become shiny and gold. And you'll see it in a minute. You'll start seeing it come to life. I'm gonna try and move the gun out of the way slightly so that you can see it as it heats up. It's kind of so exciting the first time you ever see a heat embossed item, because it's like really cool to see that powder melt like that right before your eyes and become this really awesome, shiny, beautiful image. All right, I think she's ready. I'm gonna let her cool off for a second. And while I do that, let's go ahead and cut the piece here. Now, I kind of made it a little too short, but I always have scraps of paper from cutting cardstock. I always have little edges and pieces. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to attach just a tiny bit of adhesive to the end of it. I'm going to put it on this part here so that I can hold on to it. And now it has kind of a handle, right? So we have this punch called Banner's Pick-a-Punch. I really love it because I like this forked banner, and I like this one as well. And we're going to go ahead and unlock that just like that. We're going to slide this on this one here, and we're going to push it through, and see this little handle lets me hold on to it as it gets all the way back into the punch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to look at what is going on in there, and I'm just going to use that little handle and position it right in the center. And you can see the center because you have the same amount of open space on either side of that punch, right there and right there. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and give it a press, and when I pull it out, there is my sentiment. Remember, I stamped it twice because I made a boo-boo the first time. So that we're going to go ahead and use and attach onto the card. Then you can just pull the backing off, and I kind of just give it a little tear, and I save it for the next time I have something small to stick in there. Or just throw it away, because I'm always cutting cardstock and always having little scraps sitting around my room here. But all right, so here is the angel. I'm going to show her to you so you can see all that shimmer of that embossing powder. It's super pretty. All right, let's go ahead and color her. We are going to use the Pale Papaya Light for her wings. We're going to use Daffodil Light for her hair, Pool Party Light for her gown, and Petal Pink for her hands, her face, and her neck. So I'm going to start with Petal Pink Light, and we're going to go ahead and color in her neck area here, and her face, her hand that's holding that dove, and the other one's behind her back, so we don't need that. Her hair is going to be Daffodil Delight Light, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill in these areas between the gold embossing, and I will try and get a little bit right there, just like that. Now, Pool Party Light is what we're going to use on the wings. I'm sorry, not on the wings, on her gown. I wanted it to tie together, but I'm not going to color it solid. I'm just going to kind of follow the artist's lines because I want it to kind of seem like it's a sheer gown with an overlay. And I think that having the white and this pool party along here is plenty of color. I love that. And then the last step is going to be the wings, which we're using the pale papaya, and I'm doing the same thing with it. I'm going to follow these lines that the artist has given me. I'm also going to go up this side, and then don't forget the wing on the other side because there is a piece of wing over there. The dove is going to stay white. So there is that. The coloring went pretty fast. Let's go ahead and use our regular seal adhesive, the light colored seal, and put some right along her, right like so. And now I'm going to go ahead and flatten this to stick this down. And I'm just going to frame it right here. All three sides on the bottom are about the same. That looks awesome. All right, so now we're going to attach on the top here this Peace on Earth, Goodwill Towards Men. And I'm going to be using some mini glue dots to attach, not glue dots, mini dimensionals to attach that. We'll put 2 in the corners of these 4 parts here. Move that over right there. And I'm going to put 1 in the middle. All right. I'm going to use the Take Your Pick tool because, like I said, this is like the best $10 you'll ever spend in my shop. It's an amazing, amazing tool. I love it. And then we're going to go ahead and figure out right here, kind of at the end of her wing. That looks good to me. Press that down. Now, for a finishing touch, we're going to use some embellishments. And I'm using the metallic pearls. They come in silver and gold. I separated the gold and the silver pieces just so that they wouldn't get caught up on each other. But we are going to use the gold ones since everything else on this card is gold. We're going to use this other end of the Take Your Pick tool, which is the putty end. We're going to use this little putty to pick up these pearls. You'll see how cool it works. So we're going to grab that. There's the pearl. And we're going to stick one there. Grab another one. Have it right there, and the last one in this corner right there. That looks good. And let me put my cap so that my putty doesn't dry out. And then the bottom also has a cap for safety. Also, this has a spatula end that you can use as well. And it also comes with a stylus end. It has a large ball and a small ball stylus that you can use if anything ever happens to your stylus on your Simply Scored tool. So it's quite the little all-in-one tool. I love it. I use it all the time. I think it's probably the best thing in the catalog. All right, so there is our card. Make sure it stands up. Sure does. There is our angel. I hope that you have enjoyed this process of watching me make this card. It really isn't that hard, is it? These panel cards are really nice and fairly simple to make. So thank you again for watching. I'm so grateful for everybody who watches. I've been blogging for, gosh, about 1.5 years maybe now. I know it's over a year. It might be almost 1.5 years. And I'm kind of new to YouTube, so if you don't mind helping me out, I would greatly appreciate it. Like, comment, share, subscribe, ask your friends to subscribe too. And when you subscribe, you're going to get notifications of when I post new videos. Check out my blog, inkyhandswarmhearts.com. The link is in the description below. When you go there, you can access PDFs and measurements and more fun projects. There's at least 2 more projects with this beautiful Angels of Peace stamp set. So if you like it, come back for more inspiration. I appreciate that. Thank you again for watching. I cannot thank you enough for sharing my channel and helping me get the information out there to others so that I can continue to bring you these videos. And thanks again for watching and have an awesome day. Happy stamping, guys.